Our top story today from the gatewaypundit.com confirmed. Former DNC donor and fundraiser says that Joe Biden's presidency was for sure Obama's third term. We're talking about this story and so much more here on the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review. My name is Elijah Schaffer. This is the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review, where we cover the top 5 stories of the last 24 hours. Our top story today, a former DNC donor and fundraiser says that Joe Biden's presidency was surely Obama's third term. This obviously isn't a lot of surprise to us, but listen to what Mike LaChance reported. You're not going to want to miss this. Former DNC donor and fundraiser Lindy Lee has been in the news repeatedly since the 2024 election. She is one of the loudest voices calling out the Democrat Party and the Kamala Harris campaign for, quote, blowing through more than $1 billion and losing with no accountability or even how the money was spent. She recently appeared on the Sean Ryan podcast, and when Ryan asked her who was running the government for the last 4 years, she said it was Obama's third term, confirming that what many people had suggested, open borders and all of the insanity. Check out this clip we have from the podcast where she explains her perspective. Watch.
Who was running the presidency for the last 4 years? A lot of people say it was Obama's third term.
It was for sure Obama's third term. I don't think that's even a question. I don't think anyone, it definitely was. And that's why you saw Obama fighting for his dear life. Why was he fighting so hard in the fall? Because he was fighting for his fourth term. He was fighting for his own legacy. The relationship between Obama and Biden is most reminiscent of that between LBJ and JFK. JFK had little respect for Lyndon B. Johnson, but he picked him anyway because he wanted to win the South. He wanted to win Texas. But he had very little respect for LBJ's intellect. JFK was surrounded by his Harvard brain trust, and he had immense disdain for LBJ's Texas Hill Country vibe. And that was the same attitude that Obama had towards Biden. Obama thought that Biden would eventually fuck everything up. And that's eventually actually what happened. So, but also he didn't have much faith in Kamala Harris. Before she ascended to the top role, he was vetting people like Mark Kelly and Andy Bashir. Most party chieftains didn't have Kamala Harris as their number one choice. But in the party of DEI, you can't skip a black woman. The optics would have been terrible.
So who is running it? Who are the names?
Steve Ricchetti, his senior advisor, Anita Dunn, Mike Donnellan, Ron Klain, Jeff Zients, Bob Bauer, his personal lawyer, who's actually his personal lawyer, who actually leased a book basically grifting off his relationship with the Bidens. I'm going to get in so much trouble for saying all this. Please give me credit for. But these are the people who ran our country for the last 4 years.
Right. No, she's kind of explained the truth, right? This was Obama's third term. What does she mean by that? She means open borders, massive inflation, right? More new wars. You have Ukraine and Gaza war, essentially letting the entire region destabilize. That's what Obama gave us. It's the New World Order, as he likes to put it. And Trump is undoing everything. Now, guys, you might know this. Right now, there is a massive issue happening with over $32 trillion in home equity. If you're a homeowner or you know someone who is, I need you to listen to me right now. Cyber criminals are targeting our home equity with a growing scam that the FBI calls house stealing. Now, house alarms, doorbell cameras, and deadbolts won't work against these thieves because they are not your stuff. They're not after your stuff. They're after your equity. It's your title that they want. And if it's not being monitored, here's what they're going to do. Scammers can transfer that title of your home into their name using a one-page document that they file at the county, then take out loans against it or even sell it behind your back. Now, the scariest part is that you won't find out until collection or even foreclosure notices start arriving in your mailbox. But by then, the damage has been done and you're left with a financial and legal nightmare. The best way to protect your equity is with triple lock protection from our friends at Home Title Lock. The triple lock protection is 24/7 monitoring alerts of any changes, and God forbid, if the worst happens, restoration services at no out-of-pocket cost to you. So when was the last time that you checked on your title? If you're like me, the answer is never. That's exactly what scammers are counting on. So if you want to protect your home title and have peace of mind on your family's biggest investment, go to HometitleLock.com/gatewaypundit. That's HometitleLock.com/GATEWAYPUNDIT. Use promo code Elijah for a free 30-day trial. Again, that's hometitlelock.com/gatewaypundit, promo code Elijah for your free 30-day trial. Now, that being said, check this out. Back with Obama in the news, a corrupt Obama judge, Amy Berman Jackson, rules in favor of fired Biden holdover and allows him to even keep his job. Christina Lila reports. Another Biden holdover in the executive branch caught up in President Trump's firing spree filed a lawsuit to get his job back, and a corrupt Obama judge sided with him. As previously reported, President Trump fired Hampton Dellinger, special counsel of the Office of Special, not to be confused with special counsel hired as a federal prosecutor, on Friday. On behalf of President Donald J. Trump, I am writing to inform you that your position as special counsel of the U.S. Office of Special Counsel is terminated, effective immediately. Thank you for your service, Sergio, director of White House Presidential Office, wrote to Hampton Dellinger, according to Politico. The lawsuit and temporary restraining order request was assigned to corrupt Obama judge Amy Berman Jackson. Goes on to say that later Monday evening, Judge Amy Berman Jackson sided with Hampton Dellinger and issued an administrative stay and allowed him to keep his job. Trump must allow Dellinger to continue to have access to the agency's resources and cannot recognize the authority of other persons on the special counsel while the order remains in effect, Jackson wrote, according to Politico. I am grateful to have the opportunity to continue leading the office of special counsel, and I am resuming my work tonight. The Trump Justice Department immediately appealed Judge Jackson's administrative stay. And that being said, activist Obama judges are waging a war on Trump and his ability to exercise full power over the executive branch. Corrupt Obama judge Paul Engelmeyer on Saturday issued an ex parte tro forbidding all of Trump appointees, including Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, from accessing Department of Treasury data. Now, that's kind of crazy, right? They're not just stopping him from allowing private citizens. This is why you can't believe the Democrats. They go, oh, well, we just don't want private citizens, accessing the documents on the Treasury. We need to make sure that they're actually government officials or federal employees. Well, federal employees are just private citizens, really. I mean, they're not military targets, right? They're just private citizens working for the government. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think that's true. But then you go around, it's like, oh, well, by the way, actually, when it comes down to it, we may or may not allow even the Secretary of the Treasury to access the documents. What's the point of being a Secretary of Treasury if you're not accessing the documents? It's so bizarre. It is actually freaking bizarre. Now, that being said, Mark Halperin is speechless over what Trump is getting done in the second term. Says this will dwarf the Reagan Revolution, Mike LeChance reports. Check out this video clip we have here. I want you to listen to what they had to say.
I'm paid to not be baffled or speechless. That's been my job. I'm baffled and somewhat speechless. I've been thinking in the last couple of days, is there anything in my career as a journalist that I've covered that I'd compare to this? And the answer is no. I've covered, presidential campaigns, governments, Oklahoma City bombing, O.J. Simpson trial. I've covered lots of big, complex stories. I find this to be extraordinary and singular. I think that we're covering and talking about a very small percentage of what's actually happening. And I think for the reasons I've discussed at length in my writing and on Two-Way, this is a unique presidency for so many reasons. And we're seeing the manifestation of that now. It's in some ways like a first-term presidency. He's coming in, starting this term with much more energy, momentum, newness, and arrested staff. That's not like a second-term president, right? You think about the first weeks of the second term of Clinton, Bush, and Obama. It's nothing like this for obvious reasons. But it's also is a second-term presidency in the sense that he's experienced. He knows more about how to do the job and what he wants. And he also had 4 years off when he wasn't sitting in courtrooms or being shot at. He had a lot of time to think about how he wanted to do this job and how to enact a revolution. And the theater of it and the personality and the historical narrative arc are all, of course, super compelling. But what matters is the real lives of real people and the impact this is going to have on not just American government and the world, but American history. And I think on that score, based on the early returns here after a couple weeks, this turns the Reagan Revolution into a joke. It makes the notion that George W. Bush came to Washington to really shake things up. There's no comparison what they're doing. And it's some combination of careful planning that was hidden from view for the most part, and ad hocery that is being mostly successful because this is open field running. I'm very reluctant to use sports metaphors, but I think it's the right one. This is Travis Kelce catching the ball on his own 40 and looking around and seeing there's no one near him. And he's just barreling downfield. The Democrats are nowhere on the field. The press is nowhere on the field. The liberal interest groups are nowhere on the field. And the reasons for their being so ill prepared, I think, will be studied eventually. But the reality of it now is I've never seen anything like not just the activity, but the inability of his opponents to forget stopping him. They're barely, with a few exceptions, even slowing him down.
Yeah, people cannot deny the efficiency of this government. The way that they've just moved in, the fact that courts are trying to stop them. This is what happened the last time. Remember with the building the wall? The courts are always trying to stop Trump from accomplishing what he promised his constituents, but also to stop him from doing what's actually good for the nation. It's kind of sickening when you think about it, that the courts are being used or weaponized like in a lawfare against Trump during his candidacy to sort of keep him from being able to accomplish what he wants. I know that Trump he should end up pardoning himself before he leaves office. That would be the dumbest thing if he didn't pardon himself. That'd be crazy if he just did something even crazier, ended his life or went out with a bang. I have no idea. I'm God forbid, but I feel like, Trump knows that they're going to come after him so hard. If they win the next election, they're going to try to destroy his family and all of his business ventures. So he's got to obviously protect himself in the midst of all of that. Like there's obviously no way around it. Now, that being said, James Carville actually asked a very serious question. He wondered if there's a plant among progressives to see how many jackass, stupid things that they can embrace. We have audio of this. James Carville's such a legend. Check this out. Listen to what he had to say.
Then we had the famous DNC chair race of, okay, I don't really care. Let me read to you something. Speaking to the Democratic National Committee, which met to select new leadership this weekend, outgoing chair Jamie Harris attempted to explain the point about rules concerning gender balance for his vice chair race. The rules specified if we have a gender non-binary candidate in office, that a non-binary individual is counted as neither male or female, and the remaining 6 offices must be gender balanced, Harrison said. Did I just read this? Of course I did. And do you believe this? Of course you do. Because that's the level of jackassery now, does any Democratic candidate? No, I don't even know if Tim Martin himself actually, but they do it. And it's like there's a plant somewhere in, quote, progressive, unquote, America that just sees how many jackass, stupid things that they can embrace. It's stunningly.
Yeah, it is stunningly stupid, right? How many things can they embrace to ruin their own political party? I feel like I'm already losing track. And have you ever wondered what happened to legendary Chuck Norris? Well, listen to this. Not only did the Democrats lose a lot, but apparently Chuck Norris has gained in his energy, his skills. And what's even crazier is that he did this all while he's in his 80s. He's still kicking butt and he's working out and staying active. Now, what's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by just making one simple change. He says that he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says that she feels 10 years younger, her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Now, Chuck made a special video that explains everything. Make sure that you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/pundit or by clicking the link below the video. It'll change the way that you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/pundit and click the link in the description below to watch the video now. You will not believe how simple it is. Watch his method. Remember, his wife even said that she feels so much more energy. She's able to play with the children, play with the grandkids. And do you want that energy? Do you want to feel young again? Do you want to feel your vitality return? Well, yeah, you're like me. I feel that too. I wake up this morning, going to walk with my kids. You know why? Because I was smart enough to go to chuckdefense.com/pundit right now. chuckdefense.com/pundit. Nobody likes getting older, but hey, you can check it out today at chuckdefense.com/pundit now. That being said, Democrat Arizona AG Kris May's alternate Trump electors case on life support after judge says charges may have violated the First Amendment. That being said, the Arizona alternate Trump electors case brought by Democrat Attorney General Kris May's started to crumble last year after a judge allowed the defendants to argue the charges are politically motivated. During the hearing last year, Maricopa County Superior Court Judge Bruce Cohen said that he was open to listening to the defendants' arguments to have the indictment thrown out under Arizona's anti-SLAPP law, which was recently expanded by the legislature to cover vindictive or vindictive, politically motivated charges. On Monday, Maricopa County Judge Sam Myers said the defendants successfully argued that the charges against them appeared to have violated the state's anti-SLAPP statute. Myers said that Arizona Democratic Attorney General Kris May's declaration when announcing the indictment that this should never happen again can be construed as assigning political motivation to the prosecution, Courthouse News reported. Arizona prosecutors have 45 days to respond to the judge's findings and prove that charges were to enforce the law and not to violate the First Amendment rights of the defendants. Trump 2020 election lawyer John Eastman responded to the judge's finding. Major ruling in Arizona electors case this AM. The new judge just ruled that I met the prima facie case required to dismiss under this anti-SLAPP statute and is the First Amendment rights implicated and substantially avid that the prosecution was to retaliate or deter those rights. The major ruling said the electors were there. Now, just to clarify, the AG now has to prove that there wasn't motivated by desire to retaliate or deter First Amendment rights. Their brief is due March 25th, and the judge also selected the AG's claim that the anti-SLAPP statute is unconstitutional, according to John Eastman. Now, that being said, defendants in Arizona fake elector case are closer to winning motions to dismiss fraud and conspiracy charges stemming from an apparent attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. Having shown that the charges brought against them seem intended to stifle the First Amendment speech, a judge said Monday morning. The Maricopa County Judge Sam Myers said the 16 defendants demonstrated in their briefings that the charges in April 2024 indictment appear on their face to attack what is at least part of the arguably lawful speech, violating Arizona's anti-SLAPP law, which prevents legal action seeking to suppress free speech. Myers said that the Arizona Democratic Attorney General Kris Myers' declaration when announcing the indictment that this should never happen again can be construed as assigning political motivation. In April, Trump 2020 alternate electors, GOP state legislators, former Arizona GOP chairwoman Kelly Ward, and others were indicted by a state grand jury to Arizona. A total of 18 people involved in the Arizona alternate electors plan were indicted by the Arizona grand jury last year. Trump lawyers Christina Bobb, Jenna Ellis, Rudy Giuliani, and John Eastman were all charged with felonies. Under President Trump was named an unindicted co-conspirator in the indictment because he made a phone call about the ballot counting to former Governor Doug Ducey. This was a bit more of that lawfare post-election where they just meant to put people into jail for trying to prove that Trump won the election. Trump did win the 2020 election, and I hold it to be true and evident. I don't believe there's any other evidence against that, and I hope that you guys understand in the midst of all of this, yeah, he did win 2020, and he won 2024. It's crazy to think that, that Biden was the most popular president in American history. That's just not even possible. I'm Elijah Schaffer. Have a great rest of the week. Don't forget to join our mug club here. Get this mug by signing up to our membership site at thegatewaypundit.com. Have a great rest of the week, and may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.